You can heal while in the presence of someone if they are the cause of some of your trauma or turmoil. In fact, in some cases, it's ideal. For example, if you are in a couple's relationship and the person is the cause of some of your trauma and difficulty, but yet they also have a tremendous amount of remorse and they want to grow and heal and they're willing to do healing things to help you get on the other side of your trauma. Another example is if you have trauma with a particular parent. Not only can it happen, but it's ideal because that parent can actually say and do things to help you heal. And a lot of the times, they're the only ones who can say and do things to help you heal. So yes, absolutely, you can heal in the presence of someone who has caused you harm, trauma, or turmoil. And in fact, there are lots of opportunities or lots of cases where that is optimal. Welcome back to Family Therapy. I'm your host, Elliott. What's been better since you listened to the previous episode? You'll notice I ask that question in almost every session beyond the first session, and I'm asking you, my audience, that question here because I want to shift your focus to the things you enjoy about life as opposed to the things that cause you stress. The purpose of couples therapy is for two people to get on the same page to create healing, progress, growth, whatever sign of positive in their relationship. And when people should start considering therapy is when the relationship has become stagnant or unsatisfying to one of or both members. I mean, couples therapy is really, really great to get people on the same page, working in the same direction to co-create the kind of relationship that they both would experience as satisfying. Today, we're going to spend time working with Jay and David as they work together to rediscover the happiness that they once enjoyed, as they work together to build the kind of relationship that they would both experience as joyous. Well, what is up to two of my favorite people?
What's up?
I'm very excited to get to talk to you guys today. So what are your very best hopes from talking with me?
I told you
we asked each other that. I don't know. I'm all open. I'm open ears, open minded. So let's see. I always walk away good from the session. So let's see what happens today.
Okay. What would be the type of thing, David, that if it happened, you'd be pleased with it?
I don't know. I gotta hear it and see it first. I don't know. Like I have no one thing to pinpoint.
Would you know it if it happened?
Probably more than likely.
Okay. And would you be pleased to have something good come of this?
Yes. Yeah, I would.
Okay. So if somehow our talking led to something good, that'd be a good thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Jay, what about you? What are you hoping to get from talking with me here today?
I actually did think about this because I was like, I know who's going to ask.
No, I wasn't.
I think a good thing to come out of this would be for David and I to learn more about how we can help each other as individuals on different journeys, different paths, learning more about what that looks like for each person.
Okay. What difference would it make to you if you were to learn more about how to help one another, do you think?
I think because we are clearly parents, and if we can help each other, then that means we can be better for our children. So I think it would make a huge difference.
Okay. And what difference would it make? So I agree with you. Like, that'd be great to make a difference for how we function as parents. What do you think that would do to how you and David function with one another? Like, what difference would that make between your relationship with you and David, do you think?
Well, I think the difference is the better we are with each other, the better parents we can be. The happier we are, the closer we are to living our best lives, then the better we will be for our children.
Okay. And what do you hope that would do to the dynamic between you and David? You know what I'm asking? You know what I mean? Like, how would that impact the relationship between you and David?
I think the impact would be positive. I think that's not necessarily how we have functioned most recently. We do help each other, but I think the goal is more like, how can we help each other so that we are, creating a household that is functional. But I think that's different than helping each other as individuals to be better or to reach our personal goals. I think it puts us as individuals at the forefront versus us as parents
Got you.
helping the household.
Got you. And what would this do to the way you thought about the future of you and David, do you think?
Well, I think regardless of whether we live together or not, we are bonded together forever. As mother and father of two beautiful children. So the better we can assist each other is just, if we're both winning, then our children are more likely to win.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
and by the way, I don't think I've asked either of you this, but in your relationship, have you guys ever gone to see a couples therapist?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
How many times?
I think we had like 2 sessions.
1.5.
Yeah.
Like 1.5 sessions?
The first time we went was 2019. And I don't know, we probably did 4 or 5, if that. And then we wasn't really feeling her. And then the second most recent one was only 2 sessions, 1 session.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
1, 2. Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited to talk to the two of you. David, what's your favorite thing about Jalen? Like, no one's perfect, so I imagine there are probably things about her you'd hope she changed or whatever. But like, what is your favorite thing about her? Like, the thing about her you hope she never ever changes.
She recognizes like the good in you. She's very encouraging when you might have some doubt. Like, she's not real rah. Like, is this the way she said things? And they say like, okay, cool. Yeah. So I think one of the things is like, she recognizes things in you that you probably won't see in yourself, or you do know, but you're not putting it to the front for it. And she'll say that, and she'll tell you that. And it's just the way she say it. Like, I always say, like, for whatever, no matter how loud it is or whatever, I can always hear her talking. Like, and she won't even be loud. Like, she won't even be loud. She'll just be baby or David or something like that. And it's just like everything else just goes mute, and that's the only voice I hear. So I think that's one of the things I really, 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 really like about her. If I had to look over time and certain situations and things, I think that's the one that tops all of them.
Gotcha. Okay. And Jalen, what about you? What's your favorite thing about David? And again, he's very much not perfect, and I'm sure there are things about him you'd like to change. But what's the thing about him you enjoy the most?
I guess the first thing that comes to mind is that he is fun. He can bring kind of humor and a good time to wherever he is and whoever he's around. So I can be very serious. So he knows how to kind of lighten the mood and help you kind of forget about the things that are stressing you out and just bring some type of positive energy and just good-heartedness.
That's excellent. And how did the two of you meet?
He stepped on my foot in a club.
You are not telling the
I
truth.
am. And he wears a size 13, so
Tell the whole story.
that is the story. We was at a club. I was with his cousin. I had just came home from Afghanistan like a month prior, maybe a little over a month prior. And he was drunk and he stepped on my foot.
I was nice.
Yeah, he was feeling it. He stepped on
He
my
stepped on
foot
your foot.
and was very apologetic. And I was just like, it's all good, I'm cool. But he was very, very apologetic, and he asked to massage my foot for me.
Right there in the club?
Yep. Yep. And he did. He did it. And
You took him up on the offer.
I did.
She didn't think I was
And
going to
then,
do it.
of course, he asked me for my phone number, and I said no. And he called his cousin when we were on our way home and asked to speak to me and asked me for my number again. And I said that I would take his number. I think I took his number. And I wasn't expecting to contact him. But I wasn't back at work yet. I was kind of bored. I just came home. So I ended up texting him and kind of hit it off from there.
Can I pause you for a second?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you say no? When he first said, "Can I have your phone number?" You said, "I said no." How come?
Because I didn't like that he was like tipsy, and I didn't want to. I don't know, like it was like our first interaction, and you're not even sober. So, do you really want my phone number, or do you just, just kind of going with the situation? So that was that, and then also I was kind of not in the best headspace after my deployment, so I wasn't really looking to date anybody or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that was pretty much it.
So then you took his number. You didn't even expect to use it necessarily, and then you weren't working yet, bored, and you texted him, and then you said we hit it off from there. How could you tell you were hitting it off?
Well, we talked on the phone a little bit, text a little bit. He asked to take me out, and I agreed that we could meet up at a park. And when we were at the park, we had, a really good conversation. And then after the park, we went to the movies, I think.
No, Sushi Lounge.
And then after that, we went out to eat.
Oh, yeah, we went to the
Okay,
movies.
so we ate first, and then we went to the movies. So we kind of ended up being together that whole day. It was a good vibe, and the energy was good. So we just, we clicked a little bit.
David, why pursue her?
I mean, when I saw that night, I mean, Jalen was very attractive. She's an attractive woman, and I never saw her before, and it's crazy. Like, I never knew who she was, and we both from the same city and got some of the same friends, and she's good friends with my cousin. I didn't know who she was. So, like she said, I was a little tipsy. Mm-hmm. I think when I first stepped on her foot, I was like, I'm just going to go for it. I don't care if she tell me no or not. I'm just going to go for it. And I just went for it, And then when she called me, I responded back. And we just had good conversation at the park. So I had to let her see the sober. Like, I am a smart individual. I'm a nice guy. And I can be funny at times and da-da-da. And then, we just hit it off from there. That was basically what it was.
David, how did you know you were hitting it off? Like, what were the signs to you that I'm hitting it off with this
she was smiling. She was being responsive, not giving me, like, yes, no answers, and not like if I took a shot or like, if I said something, she'd come back at me and blah blah blah. And then it was just good. It was just a good vibe and energy. It was just good vibing and energy. You know, like when you sitting there with somebody, the vibe ain't good, they ain't being responsive. Like, man, I'm out. No, I'm good. You would have made up something. You would have absolutely nothing to do. You would have made up something like, I gotta go home, take my dog out for a walk or
Right.
something. Yeah, but that wasn't the case. You
You
know,
ain't even got no dog.
yeah, and I don't even have a dog. So after I like, I'm gonna be honest with you. When she said let's meet at the park, I was like, what? She in the military? What? Meet at the park? Like, I ain't no weirdo. But I took it and ran with it. Yeah, because I never had that. Like, we gonna meet at a park, a public place, like out in the open. I was like, all right, cool. Like, I was with it. I was with it. And the energy and the vibe was good. We both wasn't doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't working at the time. She wasn't working at the time, or whatever the case may be, but we was having a good time. We definitely was. And we just took it from there. For you to meet somebody at the park at 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon and be with them until 2 o'clock in the morning, like, something had to been going right.
And how long did it take the two of you to turn this initial meeting where we're vibing and kind of clicking a little bit? How long did it take the two of you to turn this into a relationship?
She threatened my life the day of not even the day, the minutes leading up into my cousin's surprise birthday party.
Threaten your life? What?
Yeah.
I did not threaten his life.
She said, listen,
Absolutely not.
she said, listen, I'm not going to this party to meet all your family that you've been talking about. You got a big family and I ain't your woman. I said, what you mean? Like you are my lady. Like, no, we got to make it official. I'm not playing. I'm not going. I already told everybody you coming. I get back in the car. So was that the November 20th? I think it was. Yeah. My cousin she had a surprise all black birthday party. And that's when she met all my family.
Were you literally like walking into the party when Jalen said this?
Yeah. We was in the car. She said something. Then when we was walking in, she's like, I'm serious. I was like, oh, okay. Now, yeah. So she was serious. Yeah.
So we met in August, the end of August, and then I guess it was official.
August 3rd. No, we met August 3rd, my brother's birthday party.
August 3rd, yeah. And then the end, like the middle to end of November, I guess that's when it
November.
was official.
Before Thanksgiving.
Jalen, why would you want to be his partner, like officially? Like, what was making you want that to be the case?
Well, because we have been spending a lot of time together, one-on-one, and it just felt like, okay, if I'm gonna go meet all these people, I don't want to meet them as your friend. Like, I think we're a little past the point of being friends. So, let's go ahead and put a name on it. If this is what you want to do, like, I don't have to meet them tonight, but if this is what you want to do, then you're gonna, put some respect on my name and call me what I am.
But also too though, if my family was here, they'll tell you I don't bring, unless you my lady, like my woman, I don't bring you around my family like that. But everybody was there. Everybody. So I knew it in my head. I just had to say it out loud.
Why were you comfortable? What was it about Jalen that was letting you comfortable to meet all your family?
Because I did, like she said, we spent a lot of time. Like after that initial interaction and then after the park, we spent a lot of time together. Like a lot. Like the rest of the summer, going into the fall, just hanging out with each other. So I was like, and then one of my best friends said it. Like he said, Dave, because they call me Debo. He was like, Debo, I ain't never seen you act like that with no female. He said, that's going to be your lady. Watch. That's exactly what he said. He been knowing me since I was 10 years old. He said, that's going to be your lady.
Right.
Yeah. Because he saw it like over the phone, or I don't know if he saw like the bubbly, like, smiling all the time and things of that nature though. But I just felt it. I just had to say it. I could have said it in October. Yeah, I ain't had to wait till November. Yeah, I just felt it. I just felt something about Jay. Like, yeah, this is the one I want her to be my lady. Yep.
I was just about to ask you, like, what was your friend noticing, but then you said like smiling and bubbly and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
and
Was that unusual for you at the time?
yeah, that's unusual. Yeah, especially for him to see it. Like, and we was just hanging out. He's sitting on his couch, and Jay called, and I got up and used the phone. Just stepped into the kitchen real quick, and then I came back, and that's the first thing that came out of his mouth. He said, "That's gonna be your lady. Watch." I tell you, and this probably was like September. He said before the month over with, because he been hearing like we've been hanging out, and I've been telling him like, "Nah, me and Jay we did this. Nah, we about to go do this. Nah, I was just Dave. Where
Mm.
you was at last night? Nah, I was just chilling with Jay, chilling. We was on the porch, just hanging out." He was like, "Oh, all right, yeah." So
Hmm. Jay, could you tell you were making him happy in that way back then?
Because he wouldn't leave me alone. Yeah, he was calling me every day.
How did it impact you to know you were having an impact on him in that way?
I mean, we were happy. We were, always smiling, having a good time, learning about each other, our goals and all of that stuff. Like, I never felt like he was not comfortable sharing things with me and telling me about himself. And it was positive. He was happy. He seemed happy at least. And that's how I could tell.
If you woke up tomorrow and that happiness was back, how would each of you notice it?
I guess we probably be wanting to spend more time together, like, looking for ways to enjoy each other's time. You know, I think that would be one way. I don't think we really do that now. It's kind of like he does his thing, I do my thing.
Hey, Jalen, you just said something like we would want to spend time together. Is that what you said? Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
Forget David for a second. Like, how would you become aware that I'm interested in spending time with him? Like, what would you notice about Jay that would tell you something has changed and I'm interested in spending time with him?
I guess I would be excited to come up with things to do with him.
If you notice that excitement, would you be a lot surprised or a little surprised?
I'd be pretty surprised.
You'd be pretty surprised. Okay.
Yeah.
What type of things would you be thinking about wanting to do with David?
Maybe go to the gun range, maybe go work out, like maybe try out a new gym or something. I mean, we go to restaurants every now and then, so that's not really like, it's cool, but it's not like something I get like super excited about. So maybe I don't know, I guess trying something that's a little bit out of our norm. Like a weekend trip somewhere.
Where would you be thinking about going on a weekend trip?
I saw this I think it was upstate New York. I can't remember exactly where it was, but it was like this cabin place in the woods that had like a hot tub and this beautiful view of the skyline and the trees and things like that. I would have to look up the name, but when I saw it, I was like, man, that looks like a really cool place to be.
Right.
Where it's like, you can go places anywhere really, but some place that allows you to have less distractions and kind of just focus on the person you're with, like that would be cool.
And again, how surprised would you be to be thinking about, man, I want to go to a place with David where I have less distractions just so I can focus on the person I'm with?
I mean, it hasn't been a thought recently.
So would it be a big surprise or a little surprise?
Say a big one.
A big one. How would you first let David know you were having these thoughts?
David knows.
Shush, David.
I mean, I would just tell him.
Would you call him? Would you text him? Like, how would you first let him know?
I would
Text.
Yeah, I would probably text.
David, if you interject one more time, I'm gonna yell at you.
I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Okay, you said you would text?
Yes.
How would the text be written, or like, how would you make sure David received the text as this version of you?
I would just say I'm really excited. I found this place. It's really cool. I'd love to go with you.
Okay. David, would you know that this was like, I hate to say like the old version of Jay, but would you know that like this is the old version?
Well, the old version as far as what, like the excitement?
Like the previous version, yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll say yes to that. But she likes stuff like that. She likes being out in the nature and, beautiful vibes and like views and stuff like that. So it wouldn't, as far as the place, wouldn't shock me as much, but it would definitely be, I know that's something, an older version of, the previous version. As far as if I get a text like that, I'm like, okay, what's going on? And knowing me, as soon as she texts me, I was gonna call her I'm gonna call her anyway. I ain't gonna sit there and text back. Or if I'm busy, I'll be like, cool, that looks dope, and then call her later, regardless. So, and then we'll just talk about it and try to make it happen.
And how would she know that the previous version of David is calling her? Like, what would she notice that would tell her this is the David I vibe with? This is the David that I click a little bit with. Like, how would she know what the previous version of David is the one calling her?
I mean, first she'll have to see change in me first, then she'll know. Like, it's just not gonna just come to that. It will have to be some changes done by me, and then
that's true, but kind of not true. Let me give you an example of what I mean by that.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever like just watched your son like wake up and been like, "Uh-oh, this is gonna be a tough day"? Like something about the tone or you know what I mean? Like something is telling you like there's gonna be a tough day or a great day. Like sometimes we can notice things because I can see something in you just in the way you talking or walking or moving. So I guess my question would be, how would Jay know like this is the version of David that I really enjoy?
I don't know. Tough question.
What do you think?
I don't know. Maybe if I initiated it or something. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I walk the same. Maybe my attitude would be a little different, smiling a little bit more. I don't know.
In what way? What would the attitude be that Jalen would notice and say, "This is the version of him"?
I mean, a lot of my attitude now is just because of a lot of stuff that's just going on. So if I know how to channel that and put that to the side and just, remain positive and upbeat, I think, you know what I'm saying? I think she'll notice that, the excitement in my voice or in my face or something like that. I think that's what she'll notice more first, in my opinion.
What difference do you think that would make to her to see that version of you?
I think it'll make a big difference. I think it'll bring a little bit of more joy, some more joy that she needs in her life. I think it'll help Jalen out a lot if she sees that version of me again. I really do. She deserves it.
And How would you know she saw it? What would be your first clue that she saw it?
The way she responds, you know, the conversation will be a little different. That'll be the first. Like I'm pretty good at responding the way people respond back and how they feeling and by
Mm-hmm.
the way they respond. I think that'll be the first telltale sign. And then the response will go into a conversation and, you know, then probably a hug and a kiss or something.
Would you be happy that she noticed this version of you, David?
Yes, I will, because it would it'll make me happy. Like I said, I said this before to you, like I get joy on seeing happiness on Jalen, my kids' faces. Like that brings joy to me too. So, if I can do something to get that joy back or do things or change, then that'll definitely bring a lot of joy to me, myself, to see the joy on her face.
How would you let her know you were experiencing joy because it was joy on her face, David?
I'm I mean, I don't know if I would say anything. That's usually not like my thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but I think she'll probably notice because she'll just see me like the way I'm just acting and and upbeat and just involved in detail, like just paying attention and things of that nature. Like I'm not the one to be like, you know what, I will do it, but that's just not me. Like you know what, that's I'm happy that you're happy or something like that. I don't say that enough. I don't say that a lot, but it done been
Mm.
times when I see the joy on Jay face and my kid's face, and I'm just smiling ear to ear, like you know what I'm saying? Because it's like that's what's up. I'm glad they enjoy. I'm glad they're happy and feeling good. That makes me feel good. So
And you said you don't say that enough. Did I catch you say? Did I hear you say that?
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna be honest. I don't say it
What do
out
you think it would?
loud.
Right, right. You think it, but it doesn't come out.
Hmm.
What do you think it would do to Jaylyn to know that there's this guy in her life that really experiences joy when she is happy? What do you think that would do to her?
I think that will uh probably bring some clarity to some stuff. It would be something different because I usually don't express stuff like that, but I think it'll make her feel good that I'm not just thinking it, that I actually verbally said it.
Jay, how would you respond to hearing him say that?
That I bring joy to him.
Yeah, that he has joy just from seeing you happy.
I would respond probably surprised.
Would you be pleased about it?
Yeah.
And how would you said surprised? Would it be a good surprise? I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, it would be just like, oh, wow, I never heard you say that before. So it wasn't even a thing. I didn't even know it was a thing. So cool.
How would you let him know you were happy about it?
Um, I don't know. I don't even know if I would be initially happy about it because I would
Mm,
be surprised and I would probably question it.
got
Like,
you.
really? Me? Sure.
So you might be so surprised you'd be like, really?
Yeah.
Would you say that to him, do you think? Are you the type of person that might say that to him?
Yeah.
Okay, so Jalen, this is a super important question. Even while surprised, and even though you're saying things to him like, really? How might you communicate to him that I want this to stay? Like, I'm questioning this. I'm not sure what you're up to or why you're doing it, but I want this kind of communication to stay. How would you let him know that?
I would just tell him.
You would just come out and tell him.
Mm-hmm.
And does that feel like who Jane really is? Like she's the type of person that would just come out and say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Another really important question is how would you say that to him in a way he would hear it as like you were rooting for him as opposed to criticizing him? You know what I mean?
Right. I think that would be the challenge, is to say it in a way that he receives it positively. Because I would want him to receive it positively, but if I have doubt in my head, it may not come out that way. So I would want to try to tailor it in a way that was, thoughtful.
And how would you do that? Can you give me an example? Like I so appreciate you would say that. Like if I had doubt, it might come out in a different way, but I might have to tailor it so it came out thoughtful. How would you do that? So he heard this as like rooting for you, supportive, as opposed to like critical.
I guess I would just say, I'm surprised that you're saying this, but whatever I can do to keep it coming, let me know, because I like it.
Because I like it. And David, would that be unusual to hear? Would that be the kind of unusual thing to hear? Yeah.
From Jay? No.
You would
Nah.
recognize this as like, this is the real Jay.
Either way is the real Jay. One thing about her, she's gonna say what she's gonna say, right? That's one thing. She's gonna say what she's gonna say. And if it comes off wrong and you let her know, she'll say, my bad, but I said what I said, right? But for her to say, like, she doesn't have to make it too complex or whatever, but if she say it and she's smiling from ear to ear, I know I'm like, all right, okay. I hear you. I got you. All right. And I won't take it no way. Like that's positive right there. Right. Cause she like it. She want me to continue to keep communicating it like that. So that's what I gotta do.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I'll take that, give a high five, a kiss and a hug, and
would that
we'll
be unusual for you guys to communicate like this?
Is that for me or for David?
Well, I guess both of you. And yes, David, now, like in this current time, would that be unusual for you guys to communicate in this way?
Yeah.
Jane, I see you nodding. Would you agree that would be unusual?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Can I tell you why that is such an important thing you guys just described?
Mm-hmm.
When we started this conversation,
Wow.
I asked you, and you predicted the question I would ask you, and I'm kind of mad at you. You ever have somebody say, like, quit acting like you know somebody? Like you came in here knowing I was going to ask, and that's okay. I'll live with it. But your answer was, we want to like help one another. Like I want to learn how to help one another, right? Do you remember saying that?
Yes.
And, who knows what it will do to the future, what it'll do to life. But what I love so much about what you said was like, regardless, we're kind of bound together because of these kiddos. And I had never talked to the two of you about your history. I didn't know how you got together. David being a former NFL player and stepping on her foot is maybe the funniest thing I've ever heard. But when life happens and we start experiencing problems, we actually stop exchanging happiness. And when the relationship gets started, we're very good at exchanging happiness. Like I'll say things like, I really liked it when you did X, Y, Z, or I really liked it when you did A, B, or C thing. Like we're very good at exchanging happiness. But when life happens, you got kids and you got rent and you got a job and you got taxes and you got just things to do. We end up talking about problems way more than we talk about happiness. Or we end up talking about priorities, like who's going to take the kids to the such and such appointment, and who's going to sweep the floor, and who's going to, we end up talking about life instead of happiness. And what I really enjoyed about this conversation today is like David and Jay are two happy, witty, funny people. And I think when you guys are at your best, you're exchanging signs of happiness. And I think more recently, life has happened and we're doing that less and less. So no matter what happens, like if we're going to be good for each other and good for these children, you're going to have to redevelop the habit of exchanging happiness. So like David, I want you to verbally tell her, because to be honest with you, and Jay didn't say this, and Jay, if I'm wrong, feel free to yell at me. But I'd be willing to bet you that somewhere along the way, Jay forgot whether or not she's important to you. I would be willing to bet that somewhere along the way, she felt less of a priority. And when you say things like, I get joy from making you happy, the reason she said, I would doubt it at first, is because I think it would scare her to trust that feeling, because I think that's something that would really, really make her feel good. Is it okay if I say all that, Jay? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, David, I need you to remind her that you being happy makes me happy. Like you being happy brings me joy. You being happy is important to me. Because I think that's always been true, David.
Okay.
I want to be clear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's never not been true. But I think Jay's brain and heart haven't heard it. And over the course of time, she starts wondering, is it true? And that becomes a very hurtful thing. And it's very hard to be in a relationship with someone that you don't think experiences happiness through you. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, David, is that something you think you could do? And Jay,
Yes.
I've talked to David a couple of times. And I don't know that you know how much you matter to this person. And how much your mood matters to this person. And how much when your mood is negative and down, and maybe even justifiably so. Like I am not criticizing your mood, but I am saying you being his supporter and encourager really matters to him. It lifts him up. I think he's stronger because of you. And I want you to remember that, because if the two things are true, he likes it when you're happy and that brings him joy, then I want you to always let him know when you're happy, so that can lift him up and drive him. And now we'll have a relationship where Jalen and David are exchanging happiness fluently. And there is no possible way your relationship won't become stronger when that's happening.
Mm.
What do you think about that?
I mean, I think that's cool, but I feel like how do you do that when there's a lot of negative things happening?
I am so glad you asked that question, because I want you to remember no person is all good or all bad. So even while there's a lot of negative stuff happening, it's my job to see the good and accentuate it, because that's what I want more of.
Mm-hmm.
On David's worst day, he's got some good, in the same way that on David's best day, he's got some bad. Your job is to find the good and accentuate it, because that's what drives him.
Mm-hmm.
And we've tried talking about the negative things long enough. I just want you to try it this way between now and the next time we meet and see the difference it makes between the two of you.
Okay.
And can I ask you one more thing? Both of you?
Mm-hmm.
One more thing? Because I need to point this out to you.
Mhm.
Do you guys know how rare it is that you will ask a person on a first date? In this case, David asked Jalen on a first date. The thing she suggested was to go to the park. Do you know how rare it is that you will go to do that and hit it off? And David said, we spent the whole day together. Most people, I mean, think about how many people, if I told you got to go sit on a park bench with this other person, think about how many people you'd want to like choke to get out of that situation. You guys went to the park, and then you went to a sushi lounge, and then you went to a movie. You spent the entire day together. That's who David and Jane are, because not everybody can do that. Right? That's a special thing you told me. When you said it, I was like, what? Because most people can't just hang out like that. And then I asked you, I was specific. I said, how long did it take you guys to turn this into a relationship? And you both said, we spent a ton of time together. So much time together that David's friend, who's known him since he was 10, noticed the change in him. Like, hey, man, this is going to be your lady. That's who David and Jalen are. I think you have forgotten, and I think negative things have happened, and I think life has happened, but that's who David and Jalen are. My job is to remind you of that. And the best way I can think to do that is I want you guys to plan a date. I want you to plan to spend time together doing something that is not at a restaurant. And during this time you spend together, you're not allowed to talk about the children, past problems, or anything that's about adult responsibility. You just have to talk like two people who enjoy each other's company and happiness, because I think that has been true since the very first date. You just forgot. And the only way to remind yourselves of that is to spend time around one another and not talk about adulthood and children and responsibilities or past problems. Just remember that who David is in his essence is someone I actually really like. And who Jalen is in her essence is someone I actually really like. I don't think we've done that enough, actually. I think we spend too much time talking about life and problems and difficulties and frustrations, but there's so much clicking between the two of you that's not being nurtured, and I want to help you nurture that. Can I ask you guys to do that?
As long as we're not going to a restaurant.
No restaurant. No restaurant.
Okay.
But Jade, I'm actually more concerned about gun ranges, but
Oh no, we both official.
Nah, we both like going.
No, I'm kidding. But no restaurant. I want you to go do something where you guys can just vibe and click. And remember, oh my gosh, I really like this person. I just forgot, because for so many years we've been dealing with difficulties and talking about difficulties and expressing frustration. We got to get back to expressing joy and happiness.
Okay.
But no restaurant. I'm on board.
Unless they have dancing, I'll be down to go. I'll be down to dance or something like that.
Okay. And do you both dance? Jalen, don't let him step on your foot again, though, if you're gonna go dance with him.
Yeah, I've learned how to navigate around those.
I can't dance, but I will dance.
I can't dance, and I won't dance. But okay, I'm okay with that exception as long as you guys stay after the meal to dance.
Okay. Roger that.
The only exception to a restaurant is if it includes dancing. Other than that, no restaurant. And I want you to do this before we meet next time, because I need to ask you some questions about what it's like to reconnect on who David and Jade actually are.
Yes, sir.
So before we meet next time next week,
it doesn't matter to me if it lasts 10 minutes or 10 hours. I don't care. Okay?
The only thing he's thinking about is the Super Bowl, but we're going to figure it out.
Thank you, Jay.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
If I could say a word to Jay and David, or anyone who finds themselves in a relationship similar to where we met Jay and David, I would say life should be lived. Adulthood is really difficult because we end up focusing on like tasks, paying bills, child rearing, going to work, and we forget that like life is supposed to be lived. There should be fun, excitement, humor. Things should be happening in life that cause you excitement. So yes, like you got to heal, and difficult and bad things are going to happen. But the most important thing in life, and certainly in relationships, is making sure you are living, making sure you are spending time being active, making sure you are spending time being a whole person and not just being overwhelmed by the responsibilities of adulthood. If you are in a relationship that is not working, the first question I want you to ask yourself is, what could you do differently to have an impact on the satisfaction of that relationship without even including your partner? For example, if you're in a relationship and you're feeling very stagnant and it's not working, what could you ask that partner out on a date night? Could you do something to make your partner smile? Could you present them with a gift? Could you do a chore for them that you know really matters? Like, what action could you take to make a difference? Now, if you find yourself showing up and doing those things often and nothing seems to be creating change and there's nothing going on differently in the relationship in spite of your attempts, then that's the first clue or indicator that the relationship you're in might not be healthy. And I would like you to assess that. A toxic relationship can be very simply defined as a relationship wherein one of or both of the parties participating in the relationship are experience active harm or contributing to the active harm of their partner. That's the very simple working definition. It's beyond just I'm in a relationship and I'm not happy. But if being in this relationship causes me harm, trauma, extreme amounts of stress, puts me in unhealthy or even unsafe situations, that's a toxic relationship. In this particular relationship, I do not believe Jay and David are in a toxic relationship. It is clear there are things going on for both of them that aren't working, but I don't believe it is toxic, and I absolutely believe they can heal while in each other's presence. This is not just a podcast that I want you to consume and be entertained by. I actually want you to be inspired. I want you to be impacted by this. And in fact, we can't help but be impacted by the content we consume. So what I would like for you to do is come on this healing journey with us. Come on this journey of change, rediscovery with us. And the way to do that is to just pay attention to the things going on in your life as a consequence of listening to this podcast. Pay attention to things in your life shifting in a more desirable way. Pay attention to your desirable outcome becoming your reality. Pay attention to evidence of your success, your resilience, and your strength, and let us know in the comments what you're noticing in your life as a result of listening to this podcast and as a result of paying attention to these things. I would love to hear from you about your healing journey, your family, and your feedback. Leave a review, send a DM, connect with me on socials at Elliott Speaks. And you can also send me a text message to 972-426-2640. Family Therapy is a production of iHeartRadio and the Black Effect Podcast Network. Special thanks to our assistant, Glendale Sepe, the music supervisor, Bo Dozier. It's produced by Jacquees Thomas and the executive producer, Dolly Bishop. The content presented on the Family Therapy Podcast serves solely for educational and informational purposes. It should not be considered a replacement for personalized medical or mental health guidance and does not constitute a provider-patient relationship. It is advisable to consult with your healthcare provider or health team for any specific concerns or questions you may have.